Oriental gardens are often designed to appear natural, but at the same time artistic, expressing internal emotions through the external scenery. They strive to create a sense of harmony and serenity, but also retaining an overall purpose, commonly blending seamlessly with buildings within the garden. Typically, components are rocks, plants, water, and buildings, and the ground is more likely to be surfaced with gravel, pebbles, paving, or low plants such as mondo grass, rather than mown lawns as seen in Western gardens. Oriental gardens are also often partially or fully enclosed. It's common for this type of garden to take a visitor along an intended route, but one which seems unintentional, enticing them from one part of the garden to the next, along pathways, enticing them with partial views and with features that invite a closer inspection. Compare an Oriental garden with a formal European or Western garden, where a pathway could be from an entry point to a particular feature at the other end of the garden. You would be able to see from one end to the other. This may not happen so much in an Oriental garden, where the path may change direction in unpredictable ways as you move from one section of the garden to the next. At each turn, glimpses of a new feature may be revealed, which gradually unfold as you move closer. In a Western garden, we often think of creating the hard landscape, then adding the plants. But in Oriental gardening, the plants and hard landscaping components are thought of as inseparable. Natural components such as rock, water, timber, sand and gravel are important, but may often be used in a stylized or symbolic way. Oriental gardens are filled with symbolism. They attempt to create a peaceful ambience through simplicity of design. They frequently avoid clutter and consciously avoid using an excessive variety of materials. The number of plant varieties is often limited, particularly in smaller Oriental gardens. An Oriental courtyard is often relatively uncluttered, with the ground more likely to be covered by gravel, pebbles, or paving rather than lawn. It may contain an area of gravel with only one or a few rocks as features. The effect can be more dramatic when the number of features is limited. Water is often used in Oriental gardens. Water can enrich a garden in many ways that inert components cannot. Water moves, it reflects light, it attracts birds, it supports fish and other animals, it cools the air, and it can splash and create noise. These gardens use water more often than lawn to provide a peaceful surface for a large open garden area. A European garden might be built to surround a lawn, but a Chinese garden is more likely to be built to surround a lake or large pond. With Oriental gardens, the use of plants may be more contrived than in some other types of gardens. The designer will have a very specific concept of how a plant should look. In order to achieve the desired look with a plant, it might be important to not only select the appropriate cultivar, but also choose the right way to grow and treat the plant, whether in containers, in the ground, or perhaps through pruning techniques. A garden with less lawn has less mowing, so you might think less maintenance. But in an Oriental garden, often there can be more pruning required, with plants being shaped as topiary, hedges or bonsai. A popular pruning technique in Oriental gardens is called cloud pruning. This is where foliage is largely pruned away from the branches, with a ball or clouds of foliage retained at the ends of each branch. Plants are often planted in mass to create an effect. Several or many of the same species or cultivar of plant can have a greater impact than a single specimen. Buildings are an integral part of Oriental gardens. There should be a strong sense of harmony between buildings found in an Oriental garden and with the garden itself that surrounds the building. The building should seem part of the garden, and perhaps the garden part of the building space. A variety of other features are common in Oriental gardens. One type of feature is a gate or an arch. Gates of all types provide entry and exit points from one area of a garden to the next, framing and gradually revealing views as you leave and enter different parts of the garden. Stepping stones and bridges often entice a visitor to traverse bodies of water, small or large. Stepping stones are also often used amongst gravel or pebbles without water. Stone lanterns, bamboo fencing, and a whole array of typically Oriental features come together to complete a garden style which is overwhelmingly built around a sense of natural harmony, peace, and tranquility. The symbolism of the various elements in an Oriental garden are an important part of the design. As a colour, red is often used because it symbolises luck or joy in the Chinese culture. Rocks are an important component because they symbolise permanency. Aged trees reveal qualities of strength, lengthy contemplation and grandeur. All Asian gardens are influenced by the history and the philosophy of the part of Asia where they come from. There are differences between Korean gardens, Japanese gardens, Chinese and other gardens, but there are also a lot of similarities, much of what we've discussed throughout this video. Confucius reputedly once said, "The wise find pleasure in water, the virtuous find pleasure in hills."